Today we're going to talk about how to build a school shooter. We're going to take Nicholas Cruz case and explain what's going on medically. First thing we know about Nicholas Cruz, we know he has fetal alcohol effects and he's already showing signs of aggression, but this is how the doctors are going to handle it. At the age of 7, let's give him Concerta. Whoa! Kid appears to be acting very aggressive. So we're going to have to give him Stratira. Let's see how he acts. Well, he's now threatening to kill his teacher and hitting a kid with his school box. Folks, we do not have a mental health crisis in America. What we do have is a prescription drug problem in America. That's right, that's what I'm saying. 9 years ago, we had 100 million people worldwide taking psychotropic meds. Today, oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. It's 20% of the world population. That's 1.95 billion people currently purchasing and taking psychotropic medications. It's outrageous.
Ready, begin.
Okay, today we're going to be Lindsay Clancy's doctor. She's suffering from postpartum depression. She's having a hard time with her 3 kids. She's asked the doctor for help. We're going to give her some Ambien. Well, she goes in, I need some more help. Let's put her on some Klonopin here. She comes back in, says, gee, I'm very, very depressed. Okay, well, then let's put you on a little Prozac. In America, we have 331 million people. Of that, 76,940,157 people today are currently taking psychotropic medications. I want to follow the money and see what's going on. In 2020, Big Pharma's top 5 are the following. The top 3 are for attention deficit hyperactive disorder. We've got Concerta, who made them $3.28 billion. We've got Vyvanse, which made them $3.01 billion. We've got Adderall, which made them $2.35 billion. Then we go on to Abilify, which is more of a psychotropic for bipolar disorder. It's making them $2.23 billion. And then let's not forget Effexor, a wonderful antidepressant, and SNRI made them $1.38 billion. That's just in 1 year. It's ridiculous. In 2020, looks like Big Pharma made $13.4 billion. So that's the biggest crisis that we're facing. Boy, she's still not doing very well. Let's get her some Ativan. Well, gee, these things don't appear to be working, so let's take this out. If I can get it out. Yeah, pretend I got it out. Let's put some Rimron in the system here. Let's see how she does on that. Well, apparently, she doesn't like Rimron. Can't get these pills out of here. We all know, if you've watched part 1 and part 2, that these drugs are not safe. We know that they are marketed on a lie. Serotonin has absolutely nothing to do with depression. It's been scientifically proven to be squat. There is no chemical imbalance in the brain. They have no test to verify that. All of that was a marketing ploy that's aimed at you. That's right, you to purchase these particular medications. In fact, doctors were using it. Looking at Paxil, it was a very common antidepressant made by GlaxoSmithKline, a huge big pharma corporation. This company knew and hid from you and all the American people that Paxil really increased the risk of suicide to anybody who took it. But they hid that truth to get the drug approved by the FDA. And this is how they did it. During the drug trials, first and foremost, in 1989, they used non-depressed people. That's right, healthy, everyday people, right? And during their trials, they had 42 attempts of suicides and 5 actual suicide deaths. But none of that got reported. It's absolute bullshit. If you look at these particular charts that David Healy shows you, look at the before and after, you see what was actually pushed to the American people and what the FDA actually got. And it's unbelievable. The FDA got the actual clinical trials. No one else was allowed to see them. That's because they didn't work. Anyway, I think Glaxo had to pay a fine for lying to the people, but the truth of it is, all of the big pharma companies are doing this exact same process to push the antidepressants, all psychotropic medications through. In fact, this is not uncommon for unpsychotropic or any other med. Any and all medications that are going through big pharma are handled in fraud. It's just unbelievable. So I kind of wanted to take a closer look as to how this happened. Well, if you look at David Healy's charts, once again, you look at a side-by-side, you see any client that behaved suicidally or actually died of suicide got moved into the placebo trial so their data would get lost. So it made it look like the drugs were effective. It's unbelievable. It's complete and utter fraud. They miscode those people. They put them as people that just withdrew from the trial, which is absolute bullshit. Anything and everything they could do to make the drug look awesome. The fact of it is, Paxil actually increases the risk of suicide to 9 times. 9 times more likely to commit suicide if you take this pill. How in the hell can you call that an antidepressant? This is ridiculous. These are drugs aimed to kill you. Anyway, you see this, you see how they lied, you see how they frauded, and I'm telling you right away, FDA already knew about it. So why did the FDA decide to pass it? Let's follow the money. It's unbelievable. If you look at Paxil in particular, you can see all 6 psychiatrists that were put on the board to approve this drug all got paid by Big Pharma to do it. That's right, guys. It's all about the money, and it's called a payoff. The FDA is approving drugs because they want profit. It is not about you. They are not caring about your safety at all. So other ways that fraud was perpetuated to all of the American people, it goes further than this. They hired what they call ghostwriters to put positive reviews in publications that doctors read.
Let's take a controlled trial, one of the most famous controlled trials there is at this stage. This is study 329, which is a study of paroxetine, which is one of the SSRIs in children who are depressed. And this appears in the journal with the highest impact factor in child psychiatry. It appears with an authorship line to die for. The names on this authorship line are the people who are the biggest names in the field. The average doctor over in the United States seeing these names saying that this drug is safe and effective to give to children who are depressed will think, I must race out there and put every kid I can see who's remotely depressed and anxious on this drug. I mean, the article appears in the Bible and it's authored by the saints, okay? In fact, however, the true author is not there on the authorship line. This is a ghost-written study. 3 years beforehand, GlaxoSmithKline that produced the drug have concluded that our drug does not work. In this trial, did not work for children who are depressed. What are we going to do about it? Well, we're going to pick the good bits of the data out and we're going to publish those. And that's what you see here. A scandal.
All psychotropic drugs that claim to be safe and effective for use in children have ghostwriters. All studies were not based in actual fact. Doctors are reading and believing pure fiction. The other things they do is create statistical contortionism. They try through statistical facts to make their drugs look as positive as possible so that doctors will actually push them. Telling you all that they're safe and effective when they shouldn't call them antidepressant pills. They should just call them suicide pills. Because let me tell you, Cymbalta on their trials had 11 suicide attempts and 4 deaths, and they too used healthy people. What is happening to people that are actually depressed? How many more people are dying? Because these pills cause you to be suicidal when you're not depressed. It's ridiculous. This is fraud, America, and nothing's being done to stop it. If you actually look again at David Healy's before and after, take a look at Zoloft. If you look at Zoloft, there was only one positive trial and all the rest were negative, but yet it's marketed to you folks. And how many people have killed themselves taking this product? Yep. So let's give her some Zoloft. Apparently we like Zoloft. We're going to do that. She's already moody, but we're not done yet. Let's give her a little trazodone. Oh, let's try some, I think it's called amitriptyline. Let's just add that to the mix. Let's add some hydroxydine. Can I even add any more? Have we run out of places? Ridiculous. Here we go. What disgusts me the most is that doctors aren't listening. Gone are the days when doctors were your first and foremost advocates. When I went to college in 1989, 1990, there was a weight loss pill called Oban 3000. None of you have heard about it today because it's off the market. And let me explain what happened. I took the pill and it was amazingly effective. I weighed 125 pounds when I entered college. It was the lowest weight I've ever weighed in my life. And I was really tickled. But it came at a cost. I got a horrendous kidney infection, almost a failure. And my nurse practitioner who saw me there at Student Health at University of Wyoming was mortified, and she instantly got on the phone and got this drug pulled from the market. Now, this doesn't happen today. This doctor cared about me. She didn't need a stat. She didn't tell me I was statistically insignificant. She saw that I had a horrible reaction to a drug, and she immediately did the steps necessary to remove the drug from the market. Today, doctors don't do a thing. You tell them that the medication that your son took caused him to commit suicide, and it's statistical irrelevant. They believe in contortionism, that somehow this sad tragedy is a one-off and that the drug helps more people than it harms. Where's your data to prove that? You don't have any data. And you out and out stop caring about the patient that's in front of you and what your eyes tell you. What kills me about this situation is that even doctors are having trouble with these particular medications. And they're scared to get off of the meds. They can't get off the meds. And when they talk to anybody about it, they get feedback of, well, you can't be so negative. Well, I don't believe, doctors, you deserve to be spoken nicely to, because let's ask Matthew. Let's ask all of the kids that have died from these medications what their opinions are on these medications. They got no opinions because they're dead. How can you expect people to be calm about that? You're killing people with these prescriptions, and you're not taking accountability for any of it. You don't listen to your patients anymore. You don't advocate for their rights anymore. You're pushing big pharma drugs that are absolutely not safe. And instead of seeing that clearly, you're writing it off as the patient's problem. What is wrong with you? It's like saying, okay, Thomas, I noticed that you are crashing your car when drinking Jack Daniels. Well, let me write you a prescription for tequila. Right? Oh, well, I see that you're crashing the car again with tequila and Jack Daniels. Well, let me add a little beer and Everclear. I mean, my God, the way you're treating these people, you're upping the dose, throwing more and more pills at them. You have absolutely no goddamn idea what these medications do. If you don't know what they do, you have no business writing a script. And here's one for you, doctors. Doctors, if you're going to write a prescription for a drug that gets me addicted, then you, doctor, can pay for my rehab. How about if you write a script for an antidepressant that causes me to commit suicide, you can pay for my funeral. If you were held to account for the medications that you are prescribing, none of these goddamn pills would be on the market. But you hide behind the hospitals. You hide behind Big Pharma. You're too scared to do what doctors need to do. If you don't know what the data is, you have no right to push these meds on American people. Doctors, I hold you more accountable. It's not just psychiatrists. It's not. I got my pills from a general practitioner. That's right. I've had them. And what I have to say isn't pretty. But we'll get to that later. The truth of it is, if you don't know what the meds do, you have no business pushing them. If you don't know what the effects of the medications are, you have no business writing a script. If you don't know what the long-term consequences are, you have no business writing a script. Absolute bullshit. So, we know the FDA's dirty. We know they're working for Big Pharma. We know that everybody on their panels is passing these drugs, whether they're safe or not. And it should all be stopped. And Congress does know about it. But what does Congress do? Well, let's follow the money, guys. In 1992, Congress passes a Prescription Drug User Fee Act. It's called PDUFA. And what does this do? It allows the FDA to make $1 million per drug that Big Pharma wants to fast track. Unbelievable. So they made it even easier to pass these drugs. Take, for example, Adderall. It only had a 3-week trial before it was approved. 3 weeks. If every drug was used as long as the clinical trial, we shouldn't use Adderall for longer than 3 weeks. We know the FDA is crooked, and now we know Congress is backing the FDA. And let's get a little bit closer look as to why that is happening. If you look at the senators and representatives and you follow the money to who's paid for who and their campaign finance, you'll see quickly that Congress is not working for you. It's only working for their biggest payers, and that's Big Pharma. Take a look here at South Dakota. Look at John Thune and the unbelievable amount of money that was contributed to his account. I hate to tell you, America, I hate to tell you, South Dakota, John Thune doesn't work for South Dakota. He works for Big Pharma. Let's take a closer look at how this plays out locally. Take a little look at Kristi Noem, since I live here in South Dakota. She is the governor. And when you look at who's paying her the biggest campaign funds, you see Sanford Hospital. Oh my gosh. So it may not look like it's coming from Big Pharma, but Sanford only works for Big Pharma, and I'll explain it to you. Folks, no group of people act more fraudulently against the American people than our healthcare system. It's a complete shit show.
This is how much of that spending in each country is private and how much is public. Here's what's amazing. America's government spending on healthcare, on programs like Medicaid and Medicare and the VA, our versions of socialized medicine, it's about the same size as these other countries. These countries where the government runs the whole healthcare system. And then there's our private spending. It's the private insurance system that makes healthcare in America so expensive.
Private health insurance works together with the hospitals to create what's called a charge master, which is different for every hospital. This book basically allows a hospital to charge a patient anything they want. Take a look at this.
At a hospital in Modesto, California, the price for a routine knee replacement surgery might be about $16,000, or $53,000, or even $81,000.
And man, is this charge master profitable. Just look at the profits they make. In 2022, a private insurance company, the biggest one that we know of in the United States, is called United Health. It made $28.4 billion. If we look closely at Sanford, which is a public for-profit hospital here in Sioux Falls, last year it made $5.2 billion. The make-believe prices get passed to the American people that don't have insurance and even to the ones that do. So they will charge a person that has insurance with out-of-network providers, meaning they'll hire a doctor that's out-of-network. They'll use equipment that's not covered, anything and everything to raise the price. In 2020, it let go of a CEO for $49 million contract. Unbelievable. He got to leave because he didn't want to wear masks, said something that upset Sanford. So they paid him $49 million to leave. That's a lot of money that could be taking care of somebody's health. But honey, they don't care about your health. And I'll explain even more. If you look even closer at Sanford, you see they also paid a doctor a $20.2 million what do they call these things? I can't remember. $20.2 million because this doctor was frauding not only the government, but insurance with unnecessary surgeries. And because of all of these crazy charges, big pharma, health insurance companies, and hospitals are responsible for 66.6% of the bankruptcies in America. Congress knows about it, and what do? Well, honey, let's follow the money. Sanford paid Congress $910,000 in the year of 22 for lobbying fees. That's right, hush money. Also paid John Thune, our senator, $78,750 in campaign finance. As long as they funnel the money to Congress, absolutely no one there is going to do anything about the corruption that American people face. They've paid Kristi Noem hush money. They've paid a lawsuit against a doctor who did fraudulent surgeries. That's the only doctor that got caught, because I think this is an everyday practice in America. We're going to have as many surgeries as possible because it makes the hospital money. Let's talk. One of my friends just went through and had a cyst removed from her breast. She had 9 people in the operating room. It does not take 9 people to get rid of a cyst. Unbelievable. Like $12,000 charge, and anything that insurance doesn't cover, which is a lot, folks, falls on your shoulders. Let's just speak to the American people that aren't insured. They're paying 10 times the amount of anyone else for really subpar care. The other things that hospitals do, they have everybody specializing so they can charge you more. The average care or the average visit, if you watch any of this video, you get 15 minutes of time with your doctor. And you're charged at least $120 for that visit. It's fast food service with gourmet prices. Hospitals and big pharma and insurance companies are responsible for 66.6% of the bankruptcies in America. Nobody can afford these prices. Doctors that work in the hospitals, hey man, they only write you a script for big pharma. They don't ever write you a script for something outside. Let's look at the 3 big pharma earners. These 3 big ones are treating ADHD. Why are they making so much money treating this? You think the money-hungry buggers are just the hospitals. But folks, we got to turn to the schools. That's right, I'm saying the schools. We're just going to up the dose to Stratira. Let's see how he does. Oh! he's really off the wall. So let's remove one of these. Oh, well, guess we're experiencing some withdrawal symptoms here. Okay. Well, how's he gonna do on intuitive? Let's add that. Well, it looks like we're gonna have to lower the dose here. What? He's still acting crazy. Maybe we should up the dose. Let's add some more. Oh my goodness, he's acting horrible. I think maybe this kid's got a touch of autism. Did you know that any kid with the label of ADHD and an active IEP will get $15,000 added to the school budget? Okay, let me explain this. Let's go into what the hell ADHD is. That's attention deficit hyperactive disorder. And what it is an absolutely good question. As like all of these mental health disorders, it seems like an imaginary name that doctors come together with to put in the DSM so they can charge money and throw drugs at you. And I know that sounds really cynical, but that's what it's become. ADHD is a term used to describe the following behavior in kids. They're impulsive. All kids are impulsive. They daydream. All kids daydream. They're distracted. So am I. They're forgetful. God, I know I am too. They have difficulty organizing tasks. So do I. Trying to organize this was fun. They avoid schoolwork. They make careless mistakes. Sometimes I do. They squirm. They fidget. They talk excessively and can't resist temptation. This is absolutely ridiculous. There's no blood test. There's no brain scan. There's nothing to say what exactly ADHD is. It's completely subjective. And kids are getting this diagnosis and this label each and every day. And the school makes even more money if we can get them dual diagnosed. I think we're going to have to add risperidol. How does he take it? Well, I think Nicholas Cruz must just be a really bad kid. Maybe we should add some phyloctin. I don't know what's up with this kid. He's just not. He's so resistive to treatment. Let's see what else we can put in this boy. How about a little clonidine? Little clonidine in the mix. I mean, let's just figure out what our side effects are, doctors. Come on. If they start acting out aggressively on a stimulant, which most of us will, give me that, and I'll be bouncing off the damn walls. So the more agitated a child gets, they up the subscription. The more agitated they get on that, they decide, oh, well, now the kid's bipolar. He's not bipolar. He's having a reaction to the medication. But if we get him dual diagnosed, we can charge $35,000 a child. Fuck the kid. Who cares about their health? Who cares if they make it or not? The school's making money. It's all about the money, folks. It's not about your kids. Of course, making a school shooter requires more than just dangerous medications. In order to build a school shooter, adults have to play 2 games. One I call He's Not My Problem, and the other called Show Me the Money. Nicholas's mom, adopted mom, was having a hard time dealing with his erratic behaviors. She still managed until Nick went to school. Then suddenly the teachers can no longer deal with Nick's antics and behaviors, and he gets referred to a counselor. So here we go, a game called Pass the Puck. He's Not My Problem. The teachers take him into the counselor. The counselors decide he needs to get medicated. The counselors do what they do, give him medication. I don't know what kind of psychobehavioral therapy they gave him, but the counselors did not pay attention to the medications they were giving him. The other people that failed Nick were police. I do believe he had 36 different calls at his home. If the police had stopped at my house at 36 times and nobody got arrested, that's just unreal. Again, there's a passing of puck. There's a passing of responsibility. All these adults are saying he's not my problem. The letter that was written to his psychiatrist, the school as he's leaving, they say he's not my problem. But before that, somebody in the school decided to get him into ROTC. A kid on these dangerous psychotropic drugs would never, ever be accepted in the military. Then we add to it the person who sold him the gun. Again, these people take no accountability for their actions. Again, I don't care if he's crazy. He's not my problem. Show me the money. And off he goes. And that's kind of how I feel his therapists were. The counselors, the school was making money. I don't know about Parkland, but boy, they're sure banking up some serious money on a kid that they don't want to deal with. The FBI gets a report from a kid who's actually doing their best to do what's right and report his social media account and the fact that he has guns. They report well in advance before the school shooting happens. And the FBI, the competent group of people that they are, said he's not my problem because the report just evaporated. Come on, folks. If you want to know why we have school shooters, it's because not a single one of you took responsibility for this kid and tried to help. I couldn't believe it. The level of incompetence and the level of greed, well, that's what it takes, America. That's how you build a school shooter. So if you follow kids that are labeled with the ADHD label, not only do they become addicted to the medication, they become lifelong addicts. And often they get stuck on disability and stay on disability for the rest of their life. This is what happens when we label people. They don't become functioning adults. But who cares as long as the school and everybody else is making their goddamn money? The truth is, we treat this disorder with things like Adderall. We treat them with the top 5 drugs that are making the most money. Those stimulant medications. And the brain might actually suppress some of their hyperactivity for maybe 2-3 weeks. Then, at this point, the brain fights back. That's called addiction, folks. Addiction. And when the brain fights back, the kid's got to take more of it or he won't have the effects. So the kid's constantly going to the doctor, getting his dose upped, getting his dose up, getting his dose up. There are long-term effects to these medications, but absolutely no doctor knows what they are because Adderall got approved in 3 weeks. No studies have been done on the long-term effects of any and all of these drugs. I kind of wanted to say, according to National Center of Drug Abuse Statistics, 16 million Americans over the age of 12 abuse prescriptions. That's why we've got a problem here, America. 2 million Americans are addicted. 4.9 million will abuse stimulants such as Adderall and Ritalin. 4.8 million will abuse benzos like Ativan and Xanax. People, there's even more of this if you get into antidepressants. They don't think they're addictive, but they're wrong. Let's look at the stats of how many people are trying to get off of these medications and can't. It's not just Xanax. It's not just benzos that are causing problems with withdrawals. Let's look at how many Americans out there are currently on an antidepressant and cannot get off. It's ridiculous. I can't believe it when I get on Reddit and I look at people that are complaining about trying to get off Lexapro or any of the other thousands of antidepressants or antipsychotics out there. They're having horrible withdrawal effects, which we all know is a sign that they are addicted, people. They can't get off. They're in excruciating pain. What does a doctor do? Write a script for another antipsychotic or antidepressant. It's ridiculous. All of these drugs are dangerous. All you're doing is making an atomic bomb out of people. If if you look at the evidence, you see what is going on, but I don't understand how you just shut down. I was wondering if this is true. Let's just take a sample. So I decided to go out and go talk to random strangers in the mall and see what medications, if any, they're on. Do you know anybody that's on Adderall?
Yes, my daughter.
Okay. How long has she been on it?
About 6 years.
Oh, wow. That's a long time. What are her side effects, or if any?
Well, she gets a lot of irritability because she doesn't feel like it's doing anything for her.
Right? Have you had to up her dose or change her?
Several times.
Okay, so she's
Yeah.
showing signs of physical, I call that, well, you get used to it, right? So I don't know if it's physical addiction, but it's weird.
Yeah. But I feel like it's actually opened gates to
Yeah, that'd be
other
great.
medications. Because I
Sam
know my
Adams
daughter's
told
been
Sam.
bouncing back and forth between other medications, and
Okay.
they go with Adderall. But they've been trying her on different cocktails in a way, but they always go back to Adderall. But I've never seen it go in that direction towards meth, but I see it opening doors to other type of pill popping.
Right. Because she doesn't feel right unless she's on a medication. You understand where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
And her body's already showing physical addiction if she has to raise her dose.
Yeah, but we have yet to see actually any sort of improvements even with Adderall itself. I just see toxic side effects.
Now, what are the side effects that you see?
She's been going through, obviously her mood swings have been pretty bad. She's gained weight. Usually it's uncontrollable depending on her dosage at the time, to the point where she feels that she can't control herself, and we've actually had to put her into rehabs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Ouchie.
Yeah, she's been in and out of rehab now. Oh goodness, for quite some time. She's been at least 10 times already.
That's scary. Made you feel wonky. It
completely
changed
turns
your whole
off.
world.
It also completely turns off whether I can tell whether I'm hungry or not.
And I have heard that it affects your appetite.
Yeah, that's one of the big
Side
side effects of it. Cause stuff on it's like more strong coffee basically.
Sure.
So like if it's on a small scale of coffee, then it's fine. But when it's something that's as long lasting as the medicine, it gets annoying and just completely disrupts the flow of the day.
I hear you.
Like for me, with my ADHD, I've began like fidgeting with my pencil or pen during class so that I can still listen to what's going on and focus. But that way I'm not only just focusing on that because of the medicine. So
Wow, that's an interesting analogy. I never would think that you're suddenly now just focusing on the clicky pen. I do that all the
because that's
time.
the more
In
interesting.
school.
That's the
Sure.
more interesting thing.
And so now you're off.
So
and
now
you're not
you're
hearing
not
your teacher at all.
hearing what the teacher's saying.
I had no idea that would affect. That's interesting. Fascinating story. Interested.
I'm on Adderall right now. I used
Oh, yeah?
to be on Zoloft.
Oh yeah.
So I've been on Zoloft, and I used to be. Yes, I'm on Adderall right now. So I'm a big advocate for getting medication if you need it. So
And it's helped.
it
You've
has
not
helped
had
me a lot.
any
Yes,
issues?
it has changed my life completely.
Do you know anybody who's on any antidepressant or like things like Adderall for ADHD? Ritalin?
I don't think so.
You don't know anyone
Well-
in your class?
My friend, she used to be on ADHD medication.
Okay. And how long was she on it?
She's still on it, I think. But
Okay.
they're like patches that she like puts on her back.
Okay. And do you think it works for her?
Just a little bit, but I feel like they wear off a lot.
So
She's kinda-
there's some truth to that because
Yeah.
Adderall, it can be addictive and one dose doesn't necessarily, you get used to it
Yeah.
and you have to go up on it. So do you know of anybody who's ever sold Adderall?
No.
Nope. You've never seen anybody abuse that?
No.
I know that there's like people who sell it, but like I don't
Right.
know like who does. Like,
Well, here's a crazy question. Do you think Adderall has anything to do with the meth problem?
yes.
You do?
Like like I don't know how to like answer it. Like I feel like it can. Yeah, probably.
You do? Do you feel that way?
I don't really know. I don't know if it's like
Well,
affected.
they're both amphetamine. So let's say you ran out of Adderall. Do you think somebody's more likely to turn to meth if they can't get the prescription?
Probably, if they're like addicted to it.
Okay.
I'm on meth.
I'm on meth.
I'm on it too. So am I.
So am I.
I'm on meth.
Meth is not someone else's problem. It's everyone in South Dakota's problem. And we need everyone to get on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it too.
No, Christy. We aren't all hooked on meth. You were close, but it's actual prescription drugs. Folks, the effects, they're not even side effects. The effects of each and every psychotropic drug is outrageous. I'm going to go into what they are. These medications shrink your brain. Some cause obsessive compulsive disorder. You could get tardive dyskinesia, which is a physical tic. You can have that tic for life. You can become insomniac. You can become anorexic. You can also gain excessive amounts of weight and never be able to get it off. You could suffer from ED and sexual effects. Folks, some people will never be able to achieve orgasm for the rest of their lives because they took these medications. Some people get dry mouth. Some people faint. Some people have seizures. Some people get irritable, get agitated. Some people bedwet. Some people have excessive fear and it turns into psychosis. And psychosis can happen during any time of taking any of these meds. It could happen at the beginning. It could happen 6 months. It can happen in 6 years. You don't know. Nobody knows when that can happen. You can have heart problems. You can die from heart, lung, kidney, eye, liver problems. It causes birth defects in kids. It's hidden in sudden infant death syndrome. Babies born with women taking antidepressants are often premature. 90% of all school shootings is linked to these particular drugs. 90%. You want to know why your kids are being killed at school? Look at these prescription drugs. These drugs cause nightmare, can cause guilt, can cause worry, can cause hallucinations, vivid dreams, mood changes, premature death, extreme agitation from withdrawal called akathisia. It causes homicidal behavior. And I can't believe that a doctor removed Oban 3000 because it hurt my kidneys. These drugs are causing people to kill themselves and to kill other people, but they're still on the goddamn market. How in the world can any of that be safe? I want to let everybody know that Oban actually worked. I lost weight. So anybody trying to tell me that these drugs work to fix depression, well, what's the cost? What's the real cost? So what if I told you you have the power to change it all? That's right, I said you. All of this shit show can stop, but it's all 100% up to you. If you look at all the massive amount of fraud, all of the massive amount of unbelievably unfair and unsafe treatment that Americans and people all around the world are going through, there's one particular part of the equation that is 100% dependent upon you, and that is for you to buy these prescription drugs. Just say no. So this is Big Pharma. This is the FDA. This is Congress. This is the senators. This is the governor. This is the hospitals. This is big insurance. And this is the doctors. And this little piece right here is you. If you want to know how you stop all the fraud, watch. Don't buy the medications and the entire thing will crumble. Just say no. Get smart. Do your research. You don't have to believe me. Get online. Talk to people who've used the medication. Find out what people are saying, because the doctors aren't telling you the truth. And do not take these drugs. Do not buy these drugs. What I want to tell all of you is that depression is not a lifetime sentence. We all go through it, and I want you to think about depression differently. What if I told you that depression is actually a gift from God? Yep, I mean it. What it means when you're feeling depressed is that something's not right in your life. You're holding on to a role, a habit, a something that you need to let go of. It's causing you to shrivel. I think that's what depression is. You're stuck. And let me tell you, folks, each and every person going through depression can actually resolve that. They've got childhood trauma, whatever it is. They need to see a psychotherapist, not a psychiatrist. Counseling works, in particular groups. Work through your issues. That's what I'm telling you. Don't go look for a pill. There are no quick fixes to these things. If you watch my channel, you understand that I believe we are spiritual beings here for a specific purpose. And it's not to be medicated on these psychotropic drugs. They stop you from growing. They stop you from healing. You need to face these things. You need to overcome these obstacles. The world needs you to be at your best. We need you to be a fulfilled adult. We need you to be functioning at your highest level because that's your purpose. You are here to help each one around you, and you help no one when you stay stuck. These pills keep you stuck, and they kill you. It's ridiculous